Alright guys, so we're here for our new playthrough. I'm recording this on Sunday, so you'll see this on Wednesday. So we're going to be starting a WereBear Druid. Now, I will be completely honest, this is basically going to be blind for me because I almost never play werewolf forms for the Druid. I hardly ever even play elemental Druids. Just because they're somewhat kind of on the expensive side, and they're like, I want to say maybe like 80% good, you know, all the way up till you get to hell. After that, they kind of start falling off because that's basically around the point where you're going to need Enigma if you plan to make a Hurricane Druid. You need some like top end gear stuff too. You can use certain skills to stay alive, but when it comes to werewolf forms, they're almost never played unless you're doing something like hardcore one, which I did a year or so back, or whatever the hell I did it. We did a hardcore rabies fury druid. That was about it. That was actually before I actually even got plugin installed. There's some more made for PvP than anything else. Rare occasions you may actually see them for like Ubers. That's just to like show people, hey, it is capable of actually making a were druid to do Ubers. But otherwise, they're almost never played, you know. So, let's go for. I'll show you the ones for elemental ones. So if you highly recommend you do elemental one first, so you get used to the druid. So if you're gonna do elemental ones, you're gonna want to max out your hurricane, your tornado, your twisters, and cyclone armor is a choice if you want to max it out. Some people usually will only put the 1 point into it, and then they'll actually dump the rest of the points into Oak Sage, just so you have a greater life pool. That's choice optional. Now, the other ones, the ones that are almost like maybe 1% ever played, is summoning druids, and even then, that's, you know, not really played. Besides, if you don't want to max out your Oak Sage, most people will max out Grizzly because it'll keep some of the CC off of you on top of your Mercenary too. Yeah. Those are two choice options. If you plan to do a summoning druid one, max out your Grizzlies, max out your Direwolves, max out your regular wolves. You can max out Ravens if you want to, choice optional. I personally go for something like Poison Creeper, because even in the end, he's going to do maybe 2k poison damage, which doesn't sound like a lot, which is not really that much, but he'll still probably help out more than Ravens will, because Ravens are set to a certain amount of hits. So I want to say maybe your 30-40 hits before they start disappearing. So they do proc blind on enemies, but they're not really that helpful unless you're using them as scouts in certain areas where you can't see. But we're going to be doing a WereBear form. WereBear 1 has his own certain tree. I'm pretty sure he still runs through like Camp the Wolf. Let's see, improves duration of life when in werewolf. Okay, yeah. So we want to max out like Camp the 3, max out your WereBear. Maul, I know, is one of the main ones that you can use for your close quarter combats. You have Fire Claws. Fire Claws, even with the werewolf form druid, is almost never used unless you use something like PvP or you're struggling a lot against Indariel, because, you know, eventually once you get to hell difficulty, it's gonna be completely useless. Hunger is another one. It's almost never used because by the time you pretty much get full gear, you're literally going to have so much lifesteal that even using something like a skill like Hunger is just not going to matter that much. You get 72 right off the bat, so you may not hit that much lifesteal, but it's going to be more so through your physical attacks than actually requiring to actually put a point into it and then having to switch back and forth. I know Shockwave is another one. It's good, I say, through normal difficulty, maybe up to high-end Nightmare. But after that, like in hell difficulty, it's pretty much useless because all it's going to do is just going to stun your enemies. Think kind of like a war cry for a barbarian. It'll dominate in normal difficulty, dominate maybe most Nightmare, but once you eventually start getting to hell difficulty, all it's going to do is just start stunning enemies. It's not going to actually damage is not actually just going to be there. Then again, I don't want to replace Singer Barbs either, so. But so the main ones we're going to focus on is Lycanthropy, WereBear, and Maul. Those are going to be your 3 main ones, in my personal opinion, you want to do. Usually when I play Were Druids, I usually will put at least 1 point into Cyclone Armor, because it will save you a lot when you go through, especially Arc 2, when you're dealing with scarabs like that. Especially when resistances are kind of trash, you know, it'll absorb a certain amount. It will only absorb fire, cold, and lightning. It will not absorb magic, physical, or poison, so be aware of that. You can also max out your WereBear, your Grizzly if you want to, if you want that extra CC. Some people usually rock Wolves, or they'll rock Wolverine, because Wolverine will give you increased damage, increased attack rate, I'm pretty sure too. Spirit of Barbs, I've never seen any Druid player ever use unless they're using it strictly for PvP. Even then, I almost never see them use it for PvP either. They kind of really limit the Druid in the original Diablo 2. You have Karen Vine, which this is one that gives you, instead of poison enemies, they'll eat corpses and replenish your life back. Or you have Solar Creeper that does the same thing, but does it for your mana. So whatever one you're struggling with most, you know, those are the ones you probably want to use. Same thing with Ravens, not even that really important. Poison Creeper, optional. But those are the ones you're going to really focus on the most. The one thing that's going to come in really handy with Shockwave is that, especially in something like Chaos Sanctuary, where there's massive amounts of group of enemies, you can throw a couple of those in there and you should be able to take them out. I do have full altar set too. I finally organized my shared chest too. Yeah. Let me tell you, I was going to farm up like 1 page of each keys, and that was taking like forever to do with goddamn Countess. She was just not wanting to give up keys whatsoever. So, but I pretty much put it in all my shared chests, and all my characters have access to all this stuff instead of just being strictly my sorcerers. Yeah, full altars. Altars, I believe, is for, I mean, it can be for elemental or shapeshifting. It's more so for elemental. I almost never seen anyone ever use full altars unless they're using PvP were druids. Even his weapon's even trash. I mean, it's strictly, you can see it's made for a physical user. I want to say 2-2 might be the best, but 1-1 might be the highest you can probably get. But yeah, that's the full altar set. And if you're not planning to use altars, I do have a few other druid ones in here. Yeah. You have Jalah's main, really good. Probably what we're going to be rocking with sometime later on if we ever reach that high, because it gives you the shapeshifting, to the druid skills. You know, gives you the resistance 30. Because most people might not even be able to get altars. You know, altars is still one of the cheap matching sets you can get. You have Spirit Keeper, 2 druid skills, you know, really good. That fire resistance, the lightning one. So I'd probably say this would probably be your better one, maybe for Ubers, because that's what you're mostly going to be dealing with, is a lot of elemental crap, especially from Mephisto. And then you have Ravenlore. This is actually going to be my second one I actually have. I just got one last night from Neolitech. This one's going to be more so for your elemental ones, but as you can see, 3 elemental skills, minus 17 enemy fire resistance. So unless you play something like a WereBear Armageddon Druid, which no longer exists, so at least that I know of, Armageddon's kind of iffy. It's kind of like Blizzard. It'll hit where it hits, but it's actually more accurate. It's more of a big AoE, but if the enemies, it all depends on whether the enemies get hit. Fissure is actually going to be your better shot because it'll actually cover more space. And with Armageddon, though, it's like time-based too. So, but I recommend not ever using that. The only one I don't have is Cerberus' Bite, and that's the only one. It's kind of like the Wolf Mask, except it's like really like neon whites. If you ever see that one, I'm pretty sure that one's also for a rare druid. But so yeah, that's going to be that. Stats wise, Don't put anything in energy. Almost never any character here put in energy. As they always say, put as much strength as you need to wear your gear. Block rates, since you can't dual wield with a druid, you know, shields is going to be recommended. As much dexterity as you want for that certain weapon, block rates are really not necessary, considering you're going to be more so needing for attack speed. Same thing with attack rating too, but mostly you're going to be putting your points into your vitality. But because when you enter WereForms, whether it's WereBear or WereDruid, you do gain an additional health boost. By how much, I don't even remember. The only thing with WereBear is, comparisons to WereWolf, is you get it at level 1 for Werewolf, but WereBear you don't get to level 6. So we'll basically just be grinding out our character as far as we can get them, and then we'll eventually switch over to player 7 once we get our gear acquired onto that end. We can actually access our WereBear form. So usual, I'm ending the recording here. Always the very first walkthrough videos are going to be the longest because it allows me to explain what's going on, and they'll probably be close to me like 30 minutes, so as usual. But stay tuned. Okay, so we're back again. I had to get some gear set up for him. So basically, we're going to be using Harris's set. It's the most earliest one I can use. Still about 30 strength just to basically use any of this crap. Use Arctic's thing just because it's required level 2. We'll use Big as Bonnets, another good one, and we'll be using the Hand of Brock, not the gym leader. It's another good one because it gives you that Man of Steel, it gives you the Life Steal, gives you that extra poison resistance, and so on and so forth. As you can see, we're using the Hellforge Hammer. I actually kept the Hellforge Hammer and the Gibbon because they're weapons that don't allow you to have any required stats. So that'll basically be our first piece until we can get to at least level 6. So it begins. Alright. Like I said, all these first videos, walkthroughs will be like 30 minutes. When you're starting out with the Druid, I highly recommend, most people start out with the Ravens. That's choice optional. In my opinion, it's kind of your biggest mistake because you have to constantly summon them. They are, however, immortal, so they only die when their charges are up. I usually go with Poison Creeper because it allows you to get more of an AoE effect off the enemies, and you can actually monopolize on that a lot more. Poison Creeper can still die, but in my personal opinion, you have a better shot of actually living with them. But yeah, as I was explaining with the Summon Druid, the Summon Druids are like completely trash in the original Diablo 2. Like I said, I know they made them to where I'm pretty sure you can have all your wolves and your bear. Paul knows just having breakfast like a little half an hour ago. In Diablo 2 Resurrected, they didn't. I'm pretty sure you still can't summon all your vines and all your spirits, which is, it's like if you could have a necromancer with such a big ass army, they should have done that with the druid. You know, they should have allowed you to be able to summon everything with your druid. In my personal opinion, it just makes more sense. You know, that's like one of the biggest defaults about that. You hear you hear rain in the background too, because it is raining and snowed throughout the night, and then it just started raining. So you have a combination of rain and snow. Let's get our Poison Creeper. Having to wear the other headset. I keep forgetting to charge my wireless headsets before I go to bed, so it's like and end up filing taxes a little earlier than I normally do. But that was a joy. So a little bit of hiccups, but thankfully nothing too serious. So, but yeah, you know, people dread that whole tax season crap. I'm like, well, it's not that bad. It don't take me like half an hour for me, but usually it can take people like almost an entire day, especially if like business corporate businesses and shit like that. So, no, it's more of a house if you actually own your own business. But you guys will actually see this video on Wednesday, since I'm gonna take a couple days off myself, so I can get any other business I gotta get out of the way for this month. So. As I was explaining, I was gonna like farm like keys for each page, which is like 300 keys altogether. I got to like row 2 for Keys of Terror. I'm like, this shit is taking forever. Because it's like, well, I think it's like a 10% chance for Countess, Neolitech, or the Summoner to actually drop keys. And it's like every, how long, maybe 20 or 30 runs with the Countess, she would drop maybe 1 key. And I'm like, this is taking way too damn long. You should not be dropping keys this slowly, because like before she would just drop keys almost constantly. But it kind of seems like the game is like, oh, you're farming keys? Well, here's a bunch right here we'll give you, but the next 50 runs you're not getting any. And it's such a goddamn drag. It's like you see orange and it's like it's ruins, not keys. And that's another thing that they should have changed in original Diablo 2 is the color. Because I know in some loot filters keys were like purple, and then they kept, you know, ruins as orange, which would have made things deciphering crap so much easier when going through loots. I don't know if there was something saying something about loot filters. I don't know if there's any loot filters that still work with 1.14 Diablo, because they're all the rest of them are upgraded for like Resurrected or Project Diablo or crap like that. Blizzard is very picky about that shit. They don't care if you do it with single player. Don't bring it on BattleNet. It's like, why? You know, it's like it's not hurting the game. You're not cheating. You know, Blizzard's always had to stick up their ass about that stuff. I'm basically just gonna max out Poison Creeper until we get to level 6, and then I can just reset freely. So one of the niceties about Pluggy, I don't have to use tokens in my quests. I can just free skill reset or free stat reset anytime I want to. I think the enemy was down here. And big congratulations to Mr. Surfox Gaming 2 yesterday. He ended up beating his first.
This is where evil hides.
He ended up beating his first hardcore fire traps in all the way up to hell difficulty too. So that was actually pretty cool. It's like, yay, you did it, buddy. It's like, you won't ever catch me playing a hardcore character again. At least not for a really long time. Because I do plan on doing hardcore walkthroughs, even though it would be considered like my 3rd time ever doing them. At least in my time ever playing Diablo, it'd be the first one, or excuse me, it'd be the 2nd time ever doing it on the channel. But it'll be a little more difficult because I will not be using any of my gear. Because I have preset gears for every character that I've ever saved up to farms. I will not be using those with these characters if I ever do hardcore, because I am not going to have some expensive gear that's taking me months to find and then die on hardcore and then end up losing it. It's like, no. I already deal with enough of that crap farming up Neil. It's like, goddamn keys. Especially because those goddamn pit vipers. It's like, before I can even hit that escape key, it's like instantly dead. And it's like the last 5 runs farming keys with Neolitech, I end up dying like 5 goddamn times trying to keys from him. And the very last key he dropped, not only did he drop a key, he also dropped a facet too. Which reminds me I have like 8 other facets I have to identify. I have like 12 of them all together, and I don't ever bother using them because I don't have any recording here. I have like poison ones, I've got cold ones, you know, fire and lightning. But lightning fastens are really, really good if you have something like griffins. You know, last I looked, it's like player 7 on the pits in the original Diablo 2. It was like 1 out of some like 1 million chance that a griffins would drop. You know, because I know they boosted the item drop rates in Diablo 2 Resurrected by quite a bit. So it made it a lot easier to pick good items and spend terror zones and crap like that too, which increases it even more, which is just ruins the game in my opinion. But I'm looking, I'm like, let's see what Griffins looks like. It's like 1 out of 1,000,000. I'm like, great, never get that many times. But I don't really go for holy grail items anyways. If I get them, I get them.
Is that all of them?
But yeah, you use lightning ones for griffins. It's Death's Web, which is the poison one, is the unique unearthing wand. Use poison facets for that too. I've yet to see either one of those. Or Death's Fathom, which is like maybe like holy sources and stuff like that. Put a cold fast in that. Pretty sure you can. I was like, nah, I'll just save them. I really have like no use for them anyways. When it comes to single player, I'm like, unless you're like extremely dominating the game, fasts are just something you just stick on the shelf and play. That's really about it. I'm getting there too. I think once we can start slapping on our first pieces of gear, I'm gonna just boost it up to level 7. Well, actually, we should be able to do that once I get back to town, anyways. Then the fun games will begin. So in 2 more levels, I get my WereBear. Oh, and I totally forgot too. His name is Yogi Bear too. Unless you're my age or older, you won't know who Yogi is. Unless like you hear your parents talk about it through their childhood.
I am a
That or if you don't watch cartoons out ever. Especially like Cartoon Network back in the day. That was some pretty decent shows. Like still my all-time 2 favorite cartoons that I even love as an adult is Scooby-Doo and Courage the Cowardly Dog. And when they made a movie combination like that, oh, that was so badass. Like, you just combined my 2 favorite cartoons together. Alright, so let's just slap some of this stuff on. Alright, I've got the tire set. 5 maximum damage, lightning resistance 25, cannot be frozen, attacker takes damage of 5. 4 additional attack rating, 10 extra defense, 10 extra defense, so 20 extra defense. And then we can't use this until 5, so we'll hang on to that anyways. So, let's put this on layer 7. Layer set to 7. We got about 8 minutes left. Let's go see what we can do. 155 attack rating, 1452 damage. Nice. Big little party over here. Come on now, you're all surrounding me. There's a family barbecue coming in, give me a hug. I'm gonna whack you with this goddamn hammer. Gold I'm not gonna bother picking up. Gems I still will too. Ooh. Because you will need like chip gems for repairing gear or find out your gears. Speaking of runes, as I was farming Countess through my runes, she actually dropped me 2 Mal runes, which I was shocked by because I've never seen her drop those. And someone was saying that she can drop it to a low rune. And she she also dropped me shaker. I'm like, well, they're not keys, but I'll take them. And since 2 Malrones make a nest, I mean, hey, why not? We're level 5, which allows me to do this. The other thing too with WereForms, it actually does decrease your attack speed, at least of weapons wise. I explained that like a while back in one of my other videos. When you WereForm, so if you have like a fast attack speed weapon, when you go into WereForm, it will actually drop down to a normal attack speed. So if you can get as much attack speed as you can on WereForms, the better, especially like WereDruid or WereWolfform, because WereForm is more squishier. It's kind of more like the glass tank in a sense, or glass cannon. Bruiser, no defense, has high attack speed, decent amount of health and lifesteal, where the bear is more of tank-wise. So he's going to be hit a little more slower, but he's going to hit probably a lot more harder. He's going to be more beefier too. So. He's giving me strength. Something's giving me strength. I'm like, one of my items is giving me strength. Alright, so we got some life steal, we got some mana steal, so we're pretty good there. I think we can't use them all to what, 12? Yeah, so that's gonna be a little while for that. There's Grand Charm. Let's see how bad it's gonna be. That's not actually bad. I will actually take that. Usually when your first Grand Charm is usually a pile of crap. It's like 1 to maximum damage or certain percent to like gold. Which if you don't have something like Pluggy or not playing like Project Diablo or some crap like that, I would recommend you actually do keep small charms, large charms, grand charms. They do give you a certain gold percentage because you may come across some sort of item that's like 100,000 gold for this wand or some crap like that, and you may be like 10,000 gold shy. That percentage of gold farming will actually help you out in the long run. If you haven't seen my video for that, I did a gold pickup only challenge, where you were only allowed to pick up gold from like fallen enemies or chests and stuff like that. You were not allowed to sell any items. So it was kind of a struggle in the beginning of the game too, when your repairs cost like 3,000 to 5,000 each time. And I was using engines at the time too, so that stuff got really expensive. But I started stacking up like gold farming for grand charms like that. Eventually started eating out too. So we 1 second here. Rockanishu isn't gonna save you, buddy. Shut up. 117 health. WereBear form does also have a certain duration, same thing with WereForm, so you're not permanently gonna stay in it. In this case, it's only 40 seconds. And 205, so gives us quite a bit of health. But you can see how slow we actually attack. This is for a fast attack speed, so we're at normal attack speed at the moment. But basically, we're the size of like gargantuans. Maybe like a foot taller than the WereBear side, but Yogi's him from those picnic baskets. The one main weapons back in the day before WereWolves and such a thing, they were coming out with different uniques and stuff like that, is Ribcracker. I actually have 2 of those. Sadly, neither one of them is actually ethereal. If you ever do get an ethereal Ribcracker and you do have a Zod rune, I recommend that you actually socket that Ribcracker and stick that Zod rune in there, because Ribcracker back in the day was the main weapon to use as a WereForm druid, because it would just annihilate almost every goddamn thing, especially because it had pressure blow on it too. And we might have enough time to fight Bloodraven. See how long this goes. I'm gonna open up portal just. Give me a hug. I have life steal. I have mana steal. And oh yeah, and resistances too. I mean, you're not touching me even at player 7. Come on. Stop running away. Wow, he doesn't like a picnic in a graveyard. I'm like, at least 2 feet tall and Jesus. Well, that's where we're going to end the video there. So stay tuned. Like I said, you guys will see this on Wednesday. I'm going to get this video rendered and go on and deal with the rest of the awesome stuff. So I got to sneeze, or feel like I'm about to sneeze.
Your time is past, Bloodraven.
So this will be our new walkthrough. Basically, it's going to be a blind walkthrough for me because it'll be the first time I ever play a WereBear druid. Even on BattleNet, I've never touched him whatsoever. So, but stay safe, healthy, and sanitize. Make sure you drop a like, think about subscribing, leave comments below, and keep those picnic bastards close. I'll see you guys.